They at least open our eyes to defects which we are in danger of never seeing. Another thing is to be noticed. The world praises you for this or that thing which you do. If on examination you find the motives of the action wrong or sinful, are you then judging correctly if you estimate its character by their judgment? Many of our virtues are of doubtful nature, and we are in danger of placing such to the credit side of the ledger. Page 645, 81. Human life consists of a succession of small events, each of which is comparatively unimportant, and yet the happiness and success of every man depend upon the manner in which these small events are dealt with. Character is built upon little things well and honorably done. The success of a man in business depends on his attention to little things. The comfort of a household is the result of small things well arranged and duly provided for. Good improvement can only be accomplished in the same way, by well-regulated provisions for doing little things. Inquiries of knowledge and experience of the valuable kind are the result of little bits of knowledge and experience carefully treasured up. 82nd. A right-minded man will shrink from seeming to be what he is not, or pretending to be richer than he really is, or assuming a style of living that his circumstances will not justify. He will have the courage to live honestly within his means rather than live dishonestly upon the means of other people. For he who incurs debts in striving to maintain a style of living beyond his income is in spirit as dishonest as the man who openly picks your pockets. The honorable man, on the other hand, is frugal of his means and pays his ways honestly. He does not seek to pass himself off as richer than he is, or by running into debt open an account with ruin. 83rd. Great men of science, literature and art have belonged to no exclusive class or rank in life. They have come alike from colleges, workshops and farmhouses, from the huts of poor men and the mansions of the rich. Some of the God's greatest prophets have come from the ranks. The poorest have sometimes taken the highest place, nor have difficulties, apparently the most insuperable, proved obstacles in their way. Those very difficulties in many instances would seem to have been their best helpers by rousing their powers of labor and endurance. The instances of obstacles thus overcome and triumphs thus achieved are indeed so numerous as to justify the proverb, with will one can do everything. 84. Children never go to fight a war, yet every war brings the greatest misery to them. Even before the war begins, they begin to suffer, because their fathers and brothers leave all their work in order to go to fight. There is less food and homes are uncared for. Then, in the battlefields, every bullet that kills a soldier takes away from some child the one person who fed him and looked after him. Here at home, prices go up. Children do not get things to eat, books to read or toys to play with. It may even happen that people have to leave their country, and then it is children who suffer most. When the war is over, everyone who lives have to suffer. Even grown-up people are made very miserable. You can very well imagine how unbearable such suffering is to children and young people. 85. The student should learn to think and act for himself. No man has ever been great by imitation. One great reason is that it is much easier to copy the defects of a great man's character than to imitate his excellences. Alexander the Great had a foolish tutor who used to call him Achilles. He was taught to admire that character, but when he came to imitate Achilles, he imitated one of the most cruel and hateful action of that hero's life. He dragged the governor of a town through the streets after his chariot. This was because of his foolish teacher had taught him to imitate as well as to admire. Indeed, it is easy to imitate and borrow, but set it down that no imitator ever reached anything like eminence. We cannot copy goodness or greatness by any effort. We must acquire it by our own patience and diligence. 86. If we are to be India's soldiers, we have India's honor in our keeping, and that honor is a sacred trust. Often we may be in doubt as to what to do. It is not easy matter to decide what is right and what is not. But one little test I shall ask you to apply whenever you are in doubt. Never do anything in secret or anything that you would wish to hide. For the desire to hide anything means you are afraid, and fear is a bad thing. Be brave, and all the rest follows. If you are brave, you will not fear, and will not do anything of which you are ashamed. We have nothing to hide. We work in the sun and in the light. Even so, in our private lives, let us make friends with the sun and work in the light, and do nothing secretly or with a sense of guilt. 87. People often make themselves miserable very unnecessarily by attaching too much importance to trifles. It sometimes happens that when the main issue of life are going well, when health is good, when one's nearest and dearest are well and happy, when one's income is sufficient and there is no cause for anxiety, some comparative trifle, some misunderstanding or mistake, the loss of game or train will for a time overshadow the sunshine of life. But no number of small troubles can make a great sorrow if we refuse to add them together. They should be dealt with separately. The troubles of life are like the sticks in the history. If they are kept apart, we can easily break them, but if they are allowed to unite into a bundle, they may break us. 88. Buy nothing because it is offered cheap. The question should be not, is this article worth or worth more than its price, but can I not possibly get along without it? This is the secret of true economy. Curtail your needs. You can expect to be able to purchase all that would add to your comfort and convenience. We must not only deny ourselves many things which would be pleasant, but also many which at first view seems essential. Articles going cheap or offered gratis may at first be things of luxury to you, but through long use they would become articles of necessity, and you would find it very hard to do without it. Page 646. 89. It is proper for the inferior to yield respect to the superior, especially if the superiority arises from ability or virtue or from high public office. But this respect is not to be servile for the purpose of flattering the superior. Every person, however humble, owes a respect to himself, which should forbid civility to others. It is also proper for the superior to treat his inferiors with kindness. They are his brethren as men, and each has some degree of importance from his own station. Thus, respect is due from the superior to the inferior as well as from the inferior to the superior. A contemptuous behavior in any one towards those whom he thinks his inferior only shows that he is not altogether worthy of the place he occupies. On the other hand, nothing so strongly betrays a vulgar and envious mind as to be constantly using abusive language at persons in an exalted position. 90th. If you will believe me, you who are young, yours is the seed time of life, in which if you do not sow, or if you sow tares instead of wheat, you will arrive at little. And in the course of years, if you have not done what you have heard from your advisers, you will utterly repent when it is too late. The habits of study acquired at university are of the highest importance in after life. At the season when you are young in years, the whole mind is as it were fluid and is capable of forming itself into any shape that the owner of the mind pleases to allow it to form itself into. The mind is then in plastic or fluid state, but it hardens gradually to rock or iron, and you cannot alter the habit of an old man. As he has begun, so he will proceed and go to the last. 91. The mystery of Napoleon's character was this, that under all difficulties and discouragements he pressed on. It should be the motto of all, the young, high and low, fortunate and unfortunate so-called. Never despair, never be discouraged, however great the difficulties and repeated the failures. Press on. If your riches have left you, do not weep your life away, but make up the loss by new energy and new action. If an unfortunate bargain has upset your business, do not give up all as lost, but work all the more vigorously. If those whom you have trusted betrayed you, do not be discouraged, but press on. Find other or better. Learn to live within yourself. Let the foolishness of yesterday make you wise today. If another has been false to you, do not increase the evil by being false to yourself. 92. What is education? It is much more than the knowledge we find in books. If a man is truly educated, he will have shown how to lead a happy and useful life and to be a good citizen of the country in which he lives. More even than that, a good citizen of the world. He will have learnt how to behave towards other human beings. By coming in touch with the active minds of his teachers and fellow students, he will have discovered what kind of mind he himself had, and he will have become proud to do what he knows to be right. The cleverest man is not always the best educated. A wise man is one who is able to think clearly and then act in such a way that the best results follow. Knowledge is very useful, but knowledge by itself does not make a man wise. We need a special kind of education which will train us to use our knowledge wisely. 93. He that is thy friend indeed, he will help thee in thy need. If thou sorrow, he will weep. If thou wake, he cannot sleep. Thus of every grief in heart, he with thee doth bear a part. These are certain signs to know, faithful friend from a flattering foe. 94. Page 647. Away from fools, I'll turn my eyes, nor with the scoffers go. I would be walking with the wise, that wiser I may grow. From one rude boy that uses to mock, they learn the wicked jest. One sickly sheep infects the flock and poisons all the rest. 94. He who at the anvil stands, striking while the iron glows, though he works with iron hands, nobly strikes the ringing blows. At the loom and in the field, in the shop and on the soil, where men wisely power wield, there is dignity in toil. 96. Thus, when our worldly hopes are left, our earthly comforts gone, we still have one sure anchor left. God helps, and He alone. He is our cries. He to our cries will lend an ear. He gives our pangs relief. He turns to smile each trembling tear, to joy each torturing grief. Then turn to Him amidst terrors wild, when sorrows overwhelm, remembering like the fearless child our fathers at the helm. 97. lives of great men all remind us we can make our lives sublime, and departing leave behind us footprints on the sands of time, footprints that perhaps another, sailing over life's Solomon main, in the brackets sea, SEAC, a forlorn and shipwrecked brother, seeing shall take heart again. 98. Thy neighbor, it is whom thou hast power to aid and bless, whose aching heart or burning brow thy soothing hand may press. Thy neighbor, it's the fainting poor, whose eye with want is dim, whom hunger sends from door to door. Go thou and succor him. SUCCOUR him. 99. Thy neighbor, it's that weary man, whose years are at their brim, bent low with weakness, cares and pain. Go thou and comfort him. Thy neighbor, it's the heart bereft, or every earthly gain, widow or orphan, helpless left. Go thou and shelter him. 100. Page 648. Do you wish the world were better? Let me tell you what to do. Set a watch upon your actions. Keep them away straight and true. Rid your mind of selfish motives. Let your thoughts be clean and high. You can make a little Eden of the sphere you occupy. Chapter 3rd, page 649, Story Writing. 36. Story writing has a plot in which we have outlines. 37. Outlines. Outlines are a. Full or detailed outlines. B. Bare, B-A-R-E, bare outlines. C. Incomplete outlines. 38. How to proceed. First is plot. Second is outlines. Third is outlines. Fourth is dialogues or conversation or direct speech. Examples. A. Of full outline. First, two friends walking by a jungle. Dash. Bear suddenly comes out. Dash. One of the friends climbs up a tree. Dash. The other cannot. Dash. Lies flat on the ground, finging death. Dash. Bear smells his face. Dash. Thinks him dead and goes away. Dash. The first friend comes down. Dash. Inquires what the bear whispered into his ear. Dash. The friend replies, don't trust the friend who leaves you in danger. This was the outline. Now the answer. The complete story. The False Friend. Title. The False Friend. Once upon a time, two friends were walking by a jungle, talking about their love for each other. Suddenly, they saw a bear come out of the jungle. Page 650. One of the friends at once forgot all his boast of friendship and climbed up a tree to save himself, without any thought of the other. The latter could not climb a tree, so, finding no alternative, he lay flat upon the ground and feigned death, as he had heard that the bear would not touch a dead body. The bear came upon him, smelt his ears, nose, and face, and then went away, taking him for dead. After it had disappeared altogether, the first friend came down from the tree and asked the other what the bear had whispered into his ear. The latter had seen what a false friend he was and replied, "The bear advised me never to trust a man who leaves his friend in danger. Moral: a friend in need is a friend indeed. Second example. Outline. The Caliph of Baghdad loved an ugly slave very much. Dash. Courtiers asked him about it. Dash. Caliph explained. Dash. He was going through a town. Dash. A casket containing pearls fell down from a camel's back. Dash. Pearls were scattered about. Dash. Slaves were told to go and have them for themselves. Dash. All went. Dash. The ugly one stood by the Caliph. Dash. His master was his most precious pearl. Answer. First, the title. The Faithful Slave. The Caliph of Baghdad had a slave. He was ugly to look at, yet the Caliph loved him very much. One day the courtiers asked the Caliph, "O Lord, how is it that you love this ugly slave more than all others?" The Caliph answered, "Listen then to the story why I love him so much. Once, as I was going through a town, a casket containing valuable pearls fell down from the back of a camel in my train. The lid of the casket was broken and the pearls were scattered about. I told my slaves, 'Go and have them. Everyone will get what he picks.' All the slaves went for the pearls, but this ugly one. I asked him why he did not go. He replied, 'My lord, to me you are the most precious pearl. I stay to guard you.' The courtiers said with one voice, 'O Lord, truly the man deserves your special favor.' Third example. Outline. A dog and a monkey travelling together. Dash. A basket of bread on the donkey's back. Dash. Both felt hungry. Dash. Donkey ate grass off the roadside. Dash. Dog asked donkey for a piece of bread. Dash. Donkey refused. Dash. Wolf appeared. Dash. Donkey requested dog to stand by. Dash. Dog refused. Dash. Fate of the donkey. Answer. Selfishness punished. A dog and a donkey carrying a basket of bread were going together on a long journey. After they had travelled for some time, they felt hungry, and the donkey began to eat the grass that grew by the roadside. The dog, who would not eat grass, begged for a piece of bread from the donkey's back, but the donkey would not grant the request. Shortly after, a wolf was seen coming towards them. Trembling with fear, the donkey begged the dog to stand by, but the dog would not. He said that those who ate alone must also fight alone. With these words he went away, leaving the ass to be eaten up by the wolf. Page 651. Fourth. A monkey lived on a tree near a shoemaker's shop. Dash. Watched the shoemaker's work. Dash. Would enter his room in his absence and work with the tools. Dash. Shoemaker pretended to draw a razor across his throat several times. Dash. Went out. Dash. Returned to find the monkey dead with throat cut. Answer. The shoemaker and the monkey. A shoemaker was once very much troubled by the tricks of a monkey that lived on a tree near his shop. He would watch the shoemaker at work, and when he went out, it would come down and enter the shop and work with the tools like the shoemaker. The tools were damaged in this way. At last an idea occurred to the shoemaker. He took a razor and pretended to draw it across his throat several times in full view of monkey. Then he left the shop, leaving the razor lying open. When he returned, he found the monkey lying dead in the shop with its throat cut. Fifth. A conjurer pitied a tailor. Dash. The latter knew only one trade. Dash. would be in distress if people should give up clothes dash. Conjurer knew many tricks dash, so he went would never be in difficulty dash. Famine overspread the land dash. Tailor managed to live, for people could not do without clothes dash. But they had no money to throw away on tricks dash. Conjurer compelled to beg from the tailor. Answer. The tailor and the conjurer. A conjurer and a tailor once happened to converse together. Alas, cried the tailor, what a sad future is mine! If people should ever decide to go without clothes, I would be undone, for I know no other trade. Indeed, friend, I pity you sincerely, replied the conjurer, but thank heaven, things are not quite so bad with me. I know many tricks, and if any of them should fail, I should have many other yet. However, you need not worry much about your future. If at any time you are in distress, come to me at once, and I shall help you. Soon after a famine overspread the land, the tailor managed to live, for people could not do without clothes. But the conjurer with all his tricks could find none to throw away his money on any of them. It was in vain that he promised to swallow a sword or to vomit fire. At last he was compelled to beg from the very tailor he had pitied so much. Sixth, fox lost his tail in a trap dash, kept away from other foxes in shame for long dash. Despair at last took him to an assembly of foxes dash, talked to them of the advantages of being without a tail dash, advised them to shed their tail dash, and old fox replied that they saw through his game and would not follow his mischievous advice. Answer. A fox without a tail. A fox was once caught in a trap. After much struggle he managed to go out, but with the loss of his tail. Very much ashamed, he kept away from other foxes for some time, lest they should laugh at him. This made his life unbearable, and he resolved to meet the situation boldly. One day he went to an assembly of foxes and said proudly, "Friends, I have brought you a good message. You see, I have shed my tail. What a nuisance it was, and what a great comfort its absence is. So I advise you all to get rid of your tails and be light and free like me." Page 652. A few young foxes seemed almost convinced, but an old fox remarked, "You seem to have grown wiser than God. He gave us tails, and we have found them all right so long. We, however, can see through your game. You have lost caste with the loss of your tail, and want us to share your misfortune. Away with your mischievous advice." The fox left the place in disgrace. Moral: you cannot fool all people for all time.